Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com. Recently, we did another thing. We've done a few, actually, on Strauss's four last songs. We did, works that I tend to collect obsessively, and that was one of them. And I wanted to do a little special tribute to Lisa Della Casa, because that was the recording. This was the recording that I didn't mention, that the majority of you did, where that came up most of the time among the ones I didn't mention. I mean, I was only picking my 5 personal favorites. This could very easily have made the list. I mean, Lisa Della Casa was a wonderful, wonderful singer. She passed away rather recently. I guess it was about maybe a decade and a half ago or so, roughly, something like that. She had a very interesting career. She was Swiss. She retired very young. She was only 55 when she retired. I believe it was in the 1970s. And everybody was just shocked to death that she gave it up. She was a little bit like Rosa Poncel. She was at the top of her career. She was a wonderful voice, a mature and brilliant singer. She specialized in Mozart and Strauss operas and the Da Ponte operas mostly. And then she was the Arabella. Yes, for what that's worth. Frankly, not too much. Arabella is a terrible opera. I don't care what anybody says about it. I mean, it's not a terrible opera in the sense that it's got gorgeous music in it. I mean, it's Strauss, but it's like bargain basement Rosenkavalier. Filene's Basement does the Rosenkavalier. Where Rosenkavalier, all the characters are glamorous and larger than life. And Arabella, they're all boring and bourgeois and nasty and mercenary. Her parents are horrible. They're trying to marry her off to the richest person around, and it all surrounds this ball for cab drivers, the Fiaker ball, and there's this really irritating, sort of a soubrette roll, the Fiaker Millie, the bell of the cab driver's ball, which just never shuts up, and the Rosenkavalier has the presentation of the silver rose. Well, this is an opera about a glass of water. You don't get a silver rose. You get a glass of water and probably an Alka-Seltzer to go with it. I mean, it's really just an irritating opera. The problem with it is that Strauss set the entire libretto. Hofmannsthal died, having written it, and out of faithfulness to his favorite collaborator, Strauss did not want to change a word of the extremely wordy and overlong libretto, and so he did the whole thing. And aside from the fact that the plot's kind of anyway, eventually Arabella gives the guy a glass of water, and everybody lives happily ever after. But the bottom line is, Lisa Della Casa was the Arabella. She recorded the complete opera under Schulte, in the late 50s. But it was a role in which she really was able to invest herself and her personality and fill out. Actually, Arabella is a really decent character. It's everybody else in the opera who's horrible. And she made Arabella continuously interesting. And Arabella actually seems to have been somebody who was close to who she was, in the sense, not that she was, being swapped off for the richest suitor, but she was a singer of great naturalness, spontaneity, a certain innocence, a decent person. Everybody loved her. She was like a terrific colleague. She didn't hold enmities. She wasn't like a kooky diva type. That made it all the more shocking when she finally, retired so precipitously. But it turns out her daughter was very, very seriously ill, and she'd made her fortune, and she wanted to take care of her child, and that's what she did. And her daughter grew up, and they had a very loving relationship, and she had a happy marriage, and she wanted to live. And one of the funny things about the entertainment business, it doesn't matter whether it's classical or anything else, is that fans always want. They want more. They want your life. They want your soul. And if you want to have your own life, your own privacy, your own happy existence, doing what you want, to a certain extent, they get annoyed. Why? We wanted more. We want more. And then, sometimes people only have so much that they can give. And so she made this decision, and more power to her, really. So this lovely disc contains one of the great recordings of the four last songs, recorded in 1953. I mean, they were brand new in 1953, just a few years old. Strauss had died in 1948. With these things on his desk table, basically. And Karl Böhm was, the great Strauss conductor, one of them. There were a bunch. There was Clemens Krauss. There was, but she has Böhm conducting very quickly, it turns out, especially in Abendrot, the last of them. I mean, it really moves. It's yeah, da 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 da. Yeah, it's like wow. And when she says, "Ist dies etwa der Tod?" You're like, no, it's chirpy. It's not Tod. It's Leben. No, but no, seriously. She sings them extremely beautifully. The tempos allow her to breathe and phrase with great ease. It's a gorgeous performance of the four last songs, a classic performance, no question about it. And you also get on this Decca Legends from 1953, and there she is. By the way, she was also known for being genuinely beautiful, which is not something that you could say about many operatic sopranos. I mean, she was really, really attractive and inhabited her roles. You can see as Arabella there. I mean, it's like, yeah, the real deal, right? Anyway, so there are three big numbers from Arabella. There's the duet with Decca, and the duet with Mandrika, who's the guy who she eventually gives the glass of water to, and then the final scene where she gives him a drink, and everybody's happy. The Mandrika is Alfred Pohl, and let's see, we have Paul Schöffler, of course. Yes, is Mandrika. Actually, there are two different Mandrikas here. Yes, it's interesting. And let's see, what else have we got? Oh, Es gibt ein Reich from Ariadne auf Naxos. Ariadne's big monologue, which is incredibly beautiful also. And the closing scene from Capriccio with Franz Bierbach as the Haushofmeister, whose memorable last line is, "Madam, dinner is served." Yeah, isn't that fabulous? Yeah, it's really, the closing scene from Capriccio is also absolutely gorgeous and so dripping with nostalgia that, you may melt if you're not careful. It really is. And then, of course, you get the four last songs. So it's a fabulous disc and a wonderful tribute to a sensational soprano. The conductor in the four last songs is Karl Böhm. Elsewhere, it's either Rudolf Morold or Heinrich Hallreiser. And the orchestra throughout is the Vienna Philharmonic on Decca. So I don't need to tell most of you about this, of course, but for those of you who don't know who she was, and who aren't familiar with some of the great operatic voices of the middle part of the 20th century, Lisa Della Casa was certainly one of them. And this is a wonderful one-disc survey of her art. I mean, the only thing it's missing, of course, is Mozart. It's all Strauss, but it's still a first-class disc, devoted to the art of a really first-class and classy lady. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.